Right now, as we enter the new year, we're talking with local businesses about how they plan to handle the post-holiday lull.
And we're digging into the data behind thousands of sexual assaults in Wisconsin and finding what roadblock survivors may face in that criminal process.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now at 10.
First tonight, we do have breaking news. CBS News has confirmed the U.S. has conducted a strike at the Baghdad International Airport in Iraq.
According to Iraqi state TV, Qasem Soleimani, a top general in Iran, has been killed in the strike. These are some photos just in showing the aftermath of the attack. The United States considers Soleimani a terrorist. He has been a key planner behind many of Iran's military operations throughout the Middle East. It is important to note neither U.S. nor Iranian officials have confirmed his death. The Department of Defense released this statement saying in part, quote, "At the direction of the president, the U.S. military has taken decisive defensive action to protect U.S. personnel abroad." It goes on to say General Soleimani was actively developing plans to attack American diplomats and service members in Iraq and throughout the region. The president tonight tweeting this out moments after the attack was conducted: a picture of an American flag. This attack could be a turning point in the Middle East and could draw severe retaliation from Iran against American interests. Be sure to stay with News 3 Now and Channel3000.com as we learn more about the strike.
Next at 10, the holidays are a busy time of year for all of us, including businesses. But after the end of the year rush, sales can take a big dip going into the new year. Madeline O'Neill stopped by a few local shops today and tells us how they plan to get by.
It's still so new.
Sarah Arts is just getting into the swing of things.
It's a lot of work, a lot of heart, a lot of unknowns, and a lot of risks.
As the owner of Good Day Shop on Monroe Street,
We carry mindfully made home and lifestyle goods.
she says things have slowed down a bit after the first 2 or 3 months in business during the holiday season.
I'm kind of riding the high and how great things were for the holiday, but I'm also nervous because it will be downtime probably all the way up through November again.
Down the road,
It was a great holiday season.
the owner of Orange Tree Imports has 45 years worth of experience staying afloat beyond the holidays.
There is an art to surviving the entire 12 months of the year. I'm an optimist, so I definitely think of it that way, that November and December are exciting, and it's like the playoffs if you're a sports team. But you have to be in training all year round, and you have to play every game as well as you can.
Also on Monroe,
I love everything from the smell of books to talking to the customers.
Mystery to Me's owner says customers can help during the slow months too.
If people want their neighborhoods to look nice and feel good and have special spaces, they have to shop local.
Sales may slow down after the fast-paced holidays.
Oh, they dip a little bit, but people still come in and we do a lot of events.
But back at Good Day Shop,
Hi.
Arts is thinking ahead to the new year, also planning events to engage customers and making it her resolution to keep things going strong.
I'm figuring out how to make the shop be a meaningful part of people's lives, to provide those things is challenging, but I'm excited about that.
These are just some of the locally owned businesses on Monroe Street. Owners say they make up a supportive community, and of course that helps stay in business as well.
Absolutely. Madeline O'Neill reporting tonight. Thank you, Maddie.
Getting a look outside tonight, it was a beautiful day today, but colder temperatures are moving in, and so is a chance for a little snow before the weekend. Let's go to Chief Meteorologist Gary Canalti with our first alert forecast. Gary?
Yeah, you know, I'm taking a look at the snowfall forecasts on the latest computer model runs, and they keep going farther and farther lower as far as we're concerned. Time lapse from the WISC Skycam today shows we had some clouds to start today, then some sunshine, and then as we started to head into the afternoon, you can see the clouds starting to thicken up just a little bit, but they're not terribly thick, and there's not much in the way of precipitation out there. There's Doppler track across the upper Midwest, a few snow flurries up near Lake Superior, and that's pretty much about it. But high temperatures today soared into the middle 40s here in Madison. We topped out at 45. Janesville and Bosquebel were as warm as 48. Milwaukee just shy of 50. Now temperatures are in the middle to upper 30s from Madison to the south and east, and middle to lower 30s to the north and west. By tomorrow morning, with cloudy skies, will be down into the upper 20s. Look for a high temperature tomorrow of 34 under cloudy skies. Later on, I'll tell you about how much snow we can expect for tomorrow night.
Wildfires are ravaging parts of Australia, claiming at least 17 lives so far and forcing thousands to flee. More than 380 homes have been destroyed on the southern coast of New South Wales just this week. Cooler weather has helped a little over the past few days, but high temperatures and strong winds are forecast to return this weekend. A team of U.S. firefighters arrived today to aid in the fight.
In the first day of legal recreational marijuana sales in Illinois, customers spent more than $3 million. According to the Chicago Tribune, more than 77,000 customers bought weed from a total of 37 dispensaries. Well, last year, more than 5,000 people in Wisconsin reported being sexually assaulted. A quarter of those led to felony cases being opened in court. In Columbia County, one woman is waiting for her case to even make it that far.
Amy Reed shares her story and what it shows for what's going right in the system and what work still needs to be done. We want to warn you, some of the details in the story may be triggering for anyone who's experienced sexual assault.
Some things in life, in a small town, never seem to change. For some, it's not always a good thing.
I opened the door, and the person dragged me by my arms into the forest part.
Sometimes it's the not changing, the memories not fading.
I had blood all over me, on my pants and my shirt, and he had stuck objects up me too as well, which they could have gotten evidence off of.
When our victim was raped, she knew exactly what the system was set up for her to do. Call police, get a rape kit at the hospital, go to trial, get a conviction, move on, or at least try.
Even if the person was arrested, I'll never get that back. Something's taken from you.
Last year, thousands in Wisconsin were in her same situation, dealing with the aftermath of a sexual assault. From the investigation on, getting the crime solved is difficult.
All the sexual assault cases are looked at like any other investigation, so you have to make sure that you go down every avenue possible to rule people in or out as suspects.
Captain Jason Kaczewski oversees detectives at the Columbia County Sheriff's Department. Though the process is similar to other violent crime investigations, he says sexual assault is different.
It's very difficult for a victim in a sexual assault to sit and talk to a complete stranger about a traumatic event that has happened to them. So they're time consuming.
Other limitations come from staffing and resources. Last year, his team of 6 detectives handled 86 sexual assaults. Though they're trained on how to conduct these sensitive interviews, they get no specialized training for handling sexual assault investigations. Victims can be left feeling in the dark.
I feel like there's more important things for them to work on. So
that's what they're making you feel.
That is, yes.
With our victim, Columbia County said they've interviewed and gathered the evidence they can, waiting on the next step to come through.
We're dealing with mixtures of cells, mixtures of bodily fluids that are exchanged. And it's a little bit like a puzzle where you're trying to sort out and get at the DNA of interest.
Evidence found at the crime scene is often brought to the state crime lab in Madison. Analysts pull DNA from whatever police has dropped in their care.
I'm a forensic scientist supervisor at the crime lab.
Daniel Campbell did that work for 17 years. The complexity of sexual assault evidence made it his preferred to analyze.
The evidence kind of dictates what we do, but we're faced with challenges just based on the evidence itself that's presented, and you don't necessarily know what sometimes those challenges will be until you get into working the evidence.
Since starting at the lab, he's seen technology grow and improve to a point where results can be found with a high 99% certainty of a match that can be stored in a database for decades. He's also seen policy change, like a recent law meant to prevent a backlog of rape kits needing to be tested that's grown in Wisconsin. But he'll point out all that won't necessarily bring a victim justice.
That's really the limit of what the crime lab does. We talk about whether the DNA is present, does it match a particular person, but we're really not asserting that this particular person committed a crime. That's the job of the courts and the law.
That's the next step in the system. The system our victim knew to follow. But as time has passed, the DNA hasn't created a map anywhere. No match to someone in the system. No answers to her case for law enforcement. of the next steps.
I kind of have
She's not sure.
told myself that there aren't going to be, so I personally have to figure out a way how I'm going to deal with it and go on. I'm not quite there yet, but each day is different.
The people we've met so far tell me this isn't rare. Sometimes DNA doesn't match for years, and if it does, the way forward is still hard. In Dane County, the district attorney's office has kept track of how cases have progressed through the system if they get to this level, and more often than not, they don't. Of the more than 5,000 reported sexual assaults in Wisconsin in 2018, about 1,200 led to a felony case being opened in court. In Dane County, the district attorney declined to move forward with an average of 43% of cases referred to him over the past 10 years. The county's top prosecutor said a big roadblock is victims not feeling comfortable going through the trial.
Victims see what happens in a courtroom, and they understand how hard it is to reveal that most vulnerable time when they were violated and do that in a public forum.
Ozanne also pushes for more awareness and education on sexual assault, people needing to trust victims and understand consent. He said the conversation needs to continue.
I think we really need to be talking about trauma. We need to talk about the impacts of trauma on memory, on recollection. We need to talk about, why it is that we may not want to believe a victim.
It's a push our victim wants too. Despite her pain, while she waits, it's what works for her now. She said it's the best advice she can give.
The last thing you want to do at first is talk to somebody about it. But it's 10 times better if you reach out for help, because there are people that want to truly help you.
Amy Reed, News 3 Now.
There are ways the conversation is changing now in our community. For more on that, head to our website, channel3000.com.
And as for our victim, the rapist's DNA is in a national database now. Every new DNA sample law enforcement across the country find, it'll be checked against it. So no matter if it's a week from now, years down the road, they'll be able to find that perpetrator if he gets back in the system.
Still ahead tonight, ice shoves continue to threaten property on Lake Winnebago. We'll hear from one business owner who was just feet from losing his restaurant.
Well, the force is definitely with this one here. This X-Wing fighter made a stop at Dane County Regional Airport today. United Airlines' Star Wars plane was designed ahead of last month's film Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. Inside that plane, seats are either good or evil, and the film's theme song plays as passengers board. The jet even comes with stormtroopers, and it's being used for the first time, or for the next year, that is, on mostly North American routes. Pretty cool there. So it's that time of year for ice fishing, but officials are reminding anyone going out on the ice that conditions are always changing. The Wausau Fire Department spent the day on Lake Wausau teaching new operators how to use the airboat in case of emergency. They say their team needs to be able to adapt if someone happens to fall through.
Ice shoves are once again a problem along Lake Winnebago shoreline as one popular lakeshore business narrowly escapes damage. The owner of Lakeview Supper Club says he wasn't at home when the ice shoves pushed onto shore, but friends who were capturing it on video alerted him to what was happening. What took Mother Nature only 25 minutes to create had stopped only a few feet away from his back dining room.
For this time of the year, it is extremely exceptional. As you can see, especially in the highest part, it's probably twice as high as the building is.
Further up the road at Calumet County Park, the ice shoves have become an early tourist attraction with piles over 20 feet high running up and down the shoreline.
Whew. Doesn't look like that on Lake Monona or Mendota right now,
Thank
that's
goodness.
for sure, yeah.
Well, that's because all the mild weather, a lot of that ice has melted or become very thin,
right.
too. And we'll probably add a little bit to the ice with temperatures below freezing, at least for a fair part of the day over the next couple of days. But overall, our readings are still going to be above normal. 3 things you need to know in the forecast. It'll be cloudy and colder for tomorrow, but still temperatures will be above normal. Some light snow or flurries expected for tomorrow night. I've kind of backed off a little bit on the snow amounts, and then above normal temperatures expected for this weekend. Snow depth across northern Wisconsin still around a foot north of Rhinelander, about 6 to 12 inches from Eau Claire to Wausau to Rhinelander. South of there, the snowpack pretty much very spotty, especially here in the Madison area. Still a few little piles of snow on the ground, but for the most part, most of it is melted. What we'll add to it probably won't be very impressive. This is Friday night. I've kind of backed off on the snowfall amounts, maybe an inch or two down toward Grant County, probably closer to an inch. From Madison on toward the north and east, very little in the way of accumulation, maybe a ½ inch in between, and up toward Green Bay, might not get any snow at all. But temperatures are going to remain above normal. They won't be above freezing all the time like they were today, but still high of 34 tomorrow, 32 Saturday, 38 Sunday, and 33 on Monday. A little colder for the middle part of next week, and then those temperatures back up to above normal for the end of next week. 8 to 14-day temperature outlook from January 10th through the 16th from the Climate Prediction Center, calling for about a 50% chance of above normal temperatures here. Very high probabilities of that happening to our south and east, and colder than normal temperatures in the west. That usually sets up an active storm track in between, and 8 to 14-day precipitation outlook, calling for about a 50% chance of above normal precipitation just south of Madison, and almost a 60% chance down toward the Ohio River. They've already had quite a bit of rain, and they're going to get some more over the next 8 to 10 days. You can see the high temperature today of 45 and the low 37, well above the averages of 27 and 12. Right now we're sitting at 37, which is actually our low for the day. Skies are cloudy, winds out of the west-northwest at 3 miles per hour. High temperatures just above freezing in northwestern Wisconsin, almost in 50 Milwaukee, and to the south, temperatures upper 40s to lower 50s. Temperatures right now generally in the 30s, lower 30s northwestern Wisconsin, mid to upper 30s here. Notice the southeastern part of the country where the above normal precipitation is expected. This is the second storm system in just a few days that it's gone through that area, and another one is probably on the way sometime next week. But in between, that's where we are. A cold front has come through, a wind shift, pretty much about it. Temperatures have dropped off a little bit. Temperatures 40s to our south, 30s and some 20s to the north, upper teens up in far northern Minnesota, but that's not terribly cold for this time of year. Forecast for tonight calls for cloudy skies, a little colder, low temperature dropping to 28 by morning. Tomorrow, look for a mostly cloudy day and also colder as well, high temperature at 34. As we check out future track, skies mostly cloudy for tonight, lows in the upper 20s, mostly cloudy for tomorrow, high temperatures in the middle 30s. Now watch where the snow goes tomorrow night. Before it was going through the Madison area, now it's just kind of clipping southwestern Wisconsin, if at at all. Low temperatures dropping into the middle 20s by Saturday morning, and then Saturday we're back to partly sunny skies, highs in the lower 30s. Again, snowfall amounts, if they get an inch in Grant County, that would be a lot. It might even be less than that. Otherwise, 7 to 10 day forecast, you can see those temperatures above normal pretty much all the way through the 10-day period. Coldest temperatures, upper 20s on Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. No major storm systems in there. For the most part, just light snow or flurries when it occurs.
Okay, that's not bad.
Nope, I'm
nice
not
to
gonna
be
complain.
above normal sometimes.
Right.
Thank you.
Sure.
Coming up next in sports, a recap from Pasadena following the disappointing end to the Badgers football season. Stay with us.
Welcome to one more special edition of News 3 Now Sports. They really let anyone do this now. I'm telling you, Melissa Kim and Kevin Lewis are hopefully fast asleep after a week of hard work and awesome reporting. That said, fans are still replaying the replays in their heads. The 1-point loss, the deja vu. Melissa Kim has the team's reaction after the tough end to the Badger season.
You guys put it out there, and yep, everyone knows football. We did some things that make it harder to win, and we didn't overcome that. But appreciate this team a ton, and yet would have liked to have finished it obviously differently. We didn't.
And we just weren't as clean as we should have been. You know, they definitely capitalized on it. You know, hats off to them. It's a good team over there. You know, whenever you're playing a good team, and you shoot yourself in the foot too many times, it's definitely makes it harder and harder to win. But, at the end of the day, still need to find a way to overcome that.
Now, this loss obviously tough for the outgoing seniors like Chris Orr, but also for Jonathan Taylor, who most likely has played in his last game in a Badgers uniform. JT finishing with 94 yards rushing and 43 yards receiving, but his impact on this program is way bigger than those numbers. I asked him what these last 3 years representing the Badgers has been like. He says he wouldn't trade it for anything.
It's been amazing. Everyone always asks me about Camp Randall, but Camp Randall is just a stadium. It's just like any other stadium, but it's the people that fill the stadium. It's the fans that take the time out of their jobs, their daily lives, day in and day out, to spend their hard-earned money to come and watch us, play the game that we love. So it's definitely the fans that make Camp Randall what it is. And, coming out here, we travel well. They made it feel just like Camp Randall today.
Now, JT was one of the last players to leave the field on the team, and he came out to a loud standing ovation from a number of Badgers fans who stuck around to see him. And if he does end up leaving, he will truly be one of the most missed players on this team. In Pasadena, Melissa Kim, News 3 Now Sports.
Melissa, thank you so much. The Badgers finished the season with a 10-4 record, along with Jonathan Taylor, Quintez Cephas, Cole Van Lanen, and Tyler Biadasz. We're all asked, to return, if they were going to return next season or declare for the NFL draft. All of them said that they had not made up their minds yet. The deadline for underclassmen to declare for the NFL draft is January 20th. The Packers are in the playoffs, and next Sunday, January 12th, they will host a divisional game at Lambeau. Opponent not quite known yet. This return to the playoffs, though, in a game played at home, it pays huge dividends to the area economy.
Economic impact for a football game is between $14 and $15 million for our community, and that's big for a community of our size.
This season, the Packers have played 10 games at Lambeau, meaning $150 million or so in economic impact so far. And in the playoff game, it jumps another $15 million. We'll be right back. Gary has one more check of the forecast for us.
Temperatures right now still pretty mild. Upper 30s here in Madison, 37 degrees. Chances of snow tomorrow night, maybe an inch or so in Grant County. Probably less than that elsewhere. Otherwise, 7 to 10 day forecast. Temperatures staying above normal. Not much in the way of precipitation, though, which is good news.
Very good news. Thank you. And thank you for joining us. Do something good, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.